On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we are back with Gabe's Saturn Sky, and today we're gonna try to get all these new parts on this engine, or at least, yeah, we could probably get the whole thing done.
Yeah, probably. We're still missing one component.
What, the turbo?
Yeah.
What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and like I said, I'm here with Gabe and his 2007 Saturn Sky Redline. And in the last episode, we pulled the turbo off. The turbo failed after 1,000-ish miles, somewhere in that ballpark.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I do need to check the odometer. We'll find out.
Okay. And I mean, it was kind of an early, unexpected failure, and I had some concerns. I was like, it must be oiling. I'm sure everybody's thinking the same thing. It must be oiling. So I thought maybe it was a pinched line or something like that. Obviously, we checked the return. Obviously, we had oil in the turbo, a bunch of it, because it was all going down the exhaust.
Most of it.
So I checked the supply line just now, and it seems fine visually. So I think one of the things on our to-do list is to get a pressure gauge on that thing somehow and make sure we've got engine oil pressure at the turbo supply. But I think we do. I think it's actually all okay.
Do you have no pressure gauge for that?
We'd have to build something crazy because it's a banjo bolt into some kind of
fabrication.
But that can happen right before the turbo goes on. Today we have to shred this engine. So we're gonna start by getting the hood off this thing. And people were whining about it on the Corvette when it's not in the way at all. This engine, we have to get the front cover off in the car because we're not gonna try to pull the engine out. So the hood actually has to come off of this. We're gonna take that off, we're gonna pull the valve cover, we're gonna get the front cover off, and we're gonna put a full timing set into this thing with a new water pump, all that good stuff. You can see the water pump hanging out down there. There's a lot of stuff going on this engine to get it refreshed and ready for the next 150,000 miles. So that's what we're doing today. Let's start tearing this thing apart and just see how far we get. To the time lapse. Well, it's been 20 minutes and we've got the hood off, the valve cover off, the fans off the radiator. Pull that big old plug. The radiator fans slide up after you remove the two tins on top. We did have to obviously pull this radiator hose because you can't get anything out till that's gone, but for the most part, making good progress. This is the cam lock. It's very simple. You just turn the engine over clockwise, and then once both cams are lined up with these teeth, you just slide this in. It doesn't bind at all if you're lined up right, and we use the old valve cover bolts to hold it in place. There's two sets of bolts, right? There's a too long and a too short in there.
Right, but these are just right.
The valve cover ones are just right, the right porridge. That's exactly right. So we cleaned up a little bit of this. We've got this thing locked in place. We're ready to tear more of the engine apart. There's the water pump access down there, and this entire front panel is coming off. Impressively, at 150,000 miles, this hasn't had a set of belts yet. These are the GM belts, and really, like, no one goes back with those except the dealer. I would say that those were just never replaced because this one has some severe cracking. Yeah. I mean, severe. So about time for an accessory belt, but you got new ones already.
Yep.
So that's awesome. So the belts are off. We wanted to note that real quick. This engine looks great inside.
Very
great. Except for all that dirt that comes in around that seal. It's really weird where that comes in because you can tell the gasket itself does a great job. And there's no dirt going into the engine, but there's a lot of dirt that gets underneath that center part. It must go through the screw holes or something like that.
It's got to.
I don't know. I know those VVT actuators have been in and out quite a few times on this car.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's keep tearing.
What do you think of the Lobe Wear on this?
Oh, it looks okay. You can't feel it. It's just visual. It feels fine.
Yeah. Looks
good.
Sweet.
This engine is impressive, honestly. By the power vested in mechanics, crank pulley bolt came out, as it always does with the big Milwaukee. It's the way to do it. And now, if I hand Gabe this tool here, I believe you can remove it, sir. You're wielding so much power at the moment.
Oh,
there's so much power in my what's he say? In my pinky or whatever. All right, here, go. It's about there. Yeah. A couple more wiggles. Come on, crank pulley. Man, it's right at the end. Anyway, this is probably the hardest part for most people at home. We had to use, to get that bolt out, what is that, a 12-inch, half-inch extension, half-inch swivel, and then a 21 deep. That's what let us get in there. And we also had to pull the air dam out from underneath the engine to get access.
And then just lift up on the radiator.
Oh, and lift up on the radiator a little bit. But yeah. After that, we were home free. I see it wiggling. You're at the edge of...
I might even be able to get her off just with it.
Anyway, once this crank pulley comes off, we can get the front timing cover off, and we should be rocking and rolling. This is kind of the time-consuming part.
Done.
Boom! One crank pulley. How's it look? How's the old snout? Give it a wipe. I think it looks great, actually. It looks completely stock. Beautiful.
I would hope it looks stock.
No issues with the seal. Looks good.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so we need to be at number 1 on TDC for this. So I should be able to turn the crank here. Here we go. Now we're getting a little turn out of it. She rolled over. There's our mark there for timing. And we want that to be at 10 and 2. And that's about right there.
There's 10.
You think so? Are we?
Yeah, that's basically 10.
All right. Grab me the lock and also give me the screwdriver, our TDC finder, real quick. I don't want to lock it till we know.
Gotcha.
We're gonna double check.
So this is
That seems like it's right at TDC.
TDC on the exhaust stroke.
Yes. Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and verify that the crank key is also straight up and down. Should tell us everything we need to know. It's pretty close to where it needs to be, I think. See if the lock fits. That's actually a good call. It does not fit yet. It needs to go.
You got that side?
Almost.
There we go.
Cool.
On that.
All right, I think we got all the bolts out of the timing cover here. It's time to try giving it just a little pry forward here. Let's see. It's really hard to get a nice place to pry on this cover, but there she goes. Oil everywhere. We're making a mess today, boys. Here you go. Let's put this straight into the solvent tank. It's got the oil pump in there. Check that out. Oh yeah, the timing chain guide just laying in there.
Yeah.
It was probably supported by the front cover or something, but the mount point here is broke.
Here's another part.
Is this how it mounts together? No? Well, that's interesting.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
this stuff... Oh, the tensioner is apart.
Yeah.
It hasn't jumped timing and it still runs great. This is impressive.
I am
Color me impressed.
blown away, dude.
Okay, we're going in iPhone view here. You guys get to check out what we're seeing. We didn't see any issues with the oil pump drive. Obviously, the oil pump seems like it was doing its magic. Everything's fine. But we did find guides laying everywhere. And that tensioner looks horrendous right there. We might have to drop the pan because that tensioner is supposed to have like a cylinder.
Yeah,
and the cylinder's gone.
It's all that's missing.
Yep. And yeah, we have the actual guides are just laying in the bottom of the engine. I don't think this was the turbo failure. Like these aren't correlated. This is just maintenance that needed to be done to this car. We had heard a little timing chain slap, so that would explain it. Cool. Well, I guess we get to tear some more stuff apart. But yeah, we've got everything's lined up. We're ready to pull the timing set off and drop new everything on. Yep. Spring sticking out is not the look we were going for. It should look like that.
Yep.
So cool.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And there were no issues with it.
Man, it was running great. Still has plenty of... I mean, it didn't lose oil pressure. No check engine light.
Nothing.
I mean, this thing was doing fine.
I'm impressed.
Crazy. Guides were just laying in the bottom. We found the culprit. It fell down in here. It's this guide on... what's this? The intake?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once we pull out the little retainer for the tensioner there, or it is the tensioner, I think we'll drop some plastic down into this thing and be able to see that we lost the guide. The timing chains are off. Pretty awesome. And the chains look great. Sprockets look great.
Yeah.
The engine never jumped time.
Amazingly.
Never jumped time. But look at all the broken guides we've got. We've got this guide. This is the upper exhaust guide, broken, and it fell into the engine. I'd say a considerable amount of wear. This is the upper guide, like the main guide, broken, parts falling into the engine. This oh yeah, there's the other part of that guide, broken off. Everything else, like let's look at the wear.
He was like, I'm not your guide, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, guy. There's some good wear on there. I mean, these were holding on, but you know,
yeah,
it was time. It was definitely time.
Definitely time.
Oh man. Does it come with a new shoe or just new plastic? It came with a new shoe. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Because I was like, that's super warm.
Let me,
okay,
grab
cool.
the...
We're good. And then of course we still have questions about the hydraulic tensioner. I think the cylinder should have been crimped together, and for some reason that thing is just super broken. So it's only supposed to come out a little bit, and only when it has the hydraulic pressure from the oil pushing it out. So, you know, the tensioner was tensioning, luckily. Can't wait to get that all swapped out. First, we need to show you guys what happened with the engine. So where we thought the timing marks needed to be, it was close, but it was never really like 10 and 2, no matter how many times we tried.
No matter what we did.
We spun it over and, you know, locked it back in. Not really 10 and 2, but close. We spun it all the way around again. Not really 10 and 2, but close. Every time I would take my phone and try to take a picture of the crank so we could find the key that lines up the crank pulley. And for some reason, it just was always off. It was always like, what was 1, 2 on the clock, something.
Yeah, 130 or 2
and
position.
it's supposed to be straight up and down on the engine.
Right.
Of course, the engine's tilted, so we're seeing like 1, 2 in real life, but that engine's tilted, so straight up and down is actually like over here.
Right, but even looking at that, comparing,
yep,
you still had it off. So
it seemed like we were at TDC, but we didn't really believe it. But I think we were close enough to like tearing it apart. But Gabe was like, "No, we're gonna try again and again." So eventually, he found the proper TDC with the cams lined up and everything like that, and went ahead and ripped it apart without the tool. So the tool just didn't end up working out for us. If you do get one of these and commit, just know that it may or may not be correct. So we went back to vice grips as the cam holding tool.
Yep.
Which is, you know, honestly works on almost every engine. So that works. If you take a look at the engine now, we've got our new cam holding tools there that hold the cams very well. Obviously, they don't do that much, but they will keep the thing from freewheeling if spring pressure is going to try to push them over. The cam gears are off, and the chains are all off this engine and everything like that. Basically, all we have left to pull are the balance shaft gears, which are still hanging out. Oh, you got the socket on there. Cool. Mm-hmm. So the socket is on that balance shaft. There's another balance shaft right there. A little tough to see. And then the water pump is right there. There's the water pump drive and all that good stuff. We're going to replace the water pump as well, so that's about to come out. We're just going to keep right on ripping. And honestly, this thing doesn't look that bad inside. So I think we're getting there. Let's go ahead and yank these bolts off the balance shafts, and I think we're going to call it for the day. It's been a long day. There's a piece of metal right here.
Where?
Let me get a magnet.
Oh, that might be the piece that I couldn't find. That's probably that key that spun out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it kind of looked like it might have been that hydraulic tensioner.
Yeah, that's that key.
Okay, all right, we're good then. I thought we had some new foreign object debris,
nope,
but you just dropped that.
Yep.
Cool. Let me stick this in there. Let's
see what we can find.
I'm just gonna go fishing for fun. Okay, I don't see anything too interesting. Look for dirt. Go ahead. Okay. Oh, that oil looks great. Again, the engine oil looks great. How's this going on?
So this means that the oil pump is functioning.
The oil pump's fine. Cool. Grab the end of the magnet. No dirt, no metal. It looks great. Okay, I guess we believe in this engine. I mean, I believe in this engine because what a tank. All right, let's keep tearing it down. Okay, we're getting the old breaker bar out. We're gonna try to pop these balance shafts off. You ready?
I'm ready.
Are you sure?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Oh, it's just coming loose. I was like, is your arm giving up? It felt like I was like ripping your arm apart. Okay, it's off.
Cool. All right. Racing against time, trying to get it. Race. Oh.
Ja rule.
See, that's why we can't have nice.
In my race against time, I can't stop.
There we go.
Running through the red lights in my life. Ready?
Ready.
Holding tight.
Yep.
Okay, one more hit. Loose.
Go. Brilliant.
There you go. They still look fine, obviously, the balance shafts, as we'd expect. I like that they're keyed. It's a nice little key. So that'll be easy to put back together. Well, that's it. I'm calling it. This thing's fully apart.
Yeah.
Old water pumps out, new water pumps ready to go in, and we're going to show you guys putting it all back together in a bit more detail, because obviously it's a little easier to show everything cleaned up, and we can really get in here Friday, I guess. We got to take a day off from this because Gabe's got things to do. I'm going to work on the Corvette tomorrow. So yeah, that's the whole Saturn ripped apart. Down to its rotating assembly with a head on it. No timing, no water pump, everything's out. Crazy.
Remember back in the days when things were simpler?
Are you talking like this is about the simplest engine on the planet, I'd say.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. I was like, don't say carburetors though. I'll get angry. I can't hear it. Oh, those were just junk. Anyway, this thing's DI, man. It's such a good engine. DI.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, the water pump, not that big of a deal. You got 3 bolts in the back that let you pull the thermostat housing off the engine. Comes down, out. The crossover pipe comes out. Then the water pump can just fall out.
1 bolt up front.
1 bolt up front, and 3 bolts around it. I meant the thermostat housing's 3, and then the pump's 4.
2 on the.
Oh, it's only 2.
It's only 2, and then there's 1.
I didn't take
right there on
I
that
didn't take that apart. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I did this.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
there's
not
some bolts.
that many bolts.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple to get the water pump out once everything else is done. Once everything else is done is the key. Turbo's got to be off. But hey, it didn't even take that long.
Nah.
So this thing's down and ready to be completely put back together with a new timing set, new everything. It's going to be a new engine for you, man.
I'm excited.
Cool. Well, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjericho.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Progress.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about this.
Me too.
I got a lot of C5 progress done while Gabe was knocking out some of this stuff. That's like 2 massive builds done in a week almost.
I hope
Great.
I kept it quiet over here.
Ah, you're fine. Make all the noise you want.
You're screaming in Spanish and stuff. So yeah.
Still getting dunking out of my teeth.
Wait, check it out. You good?
No.
You good, bro? You good?
Casey told me the floor cleaner was sounding bad, so I popped the side off it just now. It's got quick releases. They're very cool. It's like a swash plate quick release. That would explain why it sounded bad. So pop that off of there, and then you very carefully pick all of this junk off. These were not that old. Man, we put these on here, I don't know, a few months ago. Maybe 6 months ago. How to change your floor cleaner scrub pads. Yes, these are the fine ones for this floor, so I didn't have to tear up the floor. I think it just cleans so much of the rough concrete, ends up tearing them up. So I think we've got it pretty cleared up to where the grippers can go back to doing their grippiness. Otherwise you end up with pad slip. All right, we're just gonna go like this.
Remember, folks, this is a technical move.
It's in the book.
Important. If you don't do this,
Use your lint roller. I just want it to be right. We'll do that so that you can read the text if you ever need to. And then you just pop in your center like that and pop the whole pad back on, and it'll push itself back on with all the pressure it puts on it.